morning, everybody, and a happy Saturday morning to you. Oh my goodness. Okay, this will not be 19 minutes long like the one from yesterday, but we're still chock full of information. And don't forget, on Sunday, I think it's about 10:30, I'll be going live, and you'll want to join me then as well. Okay, so let's just jump in and cover what we have. Let's go. We're going to start off with King Charles. He unveiled a wing named in his honor at the Oxford Center for Islamic Studies. Now, his relationship with this center apparently spans over 3 decades, and he went to visit it to commemorate the institution's 40th anniversary. It's a milestone, they're saying, in their mission to bridge Western and Islamic academic traditions. Now, King Charles has been the patron since 1993. They opened a new wing called the King Charles III Wing during the ceremony, which took place on Thursday. The visit saw the launch of the King Charles III program, which is an initiative that will encompass fellowships, leadership development for young Muslims, environmental conferences, and various scholarship opportunities. So there were a lot of big named people there. This place was founded in 1985, and they're saying that it is a meeting point between Western and Islamic academic communities, contributing to multidisciplinary studies of the Islamic world. Now, this place received a royal charter from Queen Elizabeth II in 2012, which cements its status as a leading academic center. While he was there, Charles also met some school children. I love the red carpet they rolled out for him. All right, let's move on. Now, I know there's some stuff going on in the UK. You know, I don't want to get into all the politics of it, but I found this interesting because GB News said something about Harry being in Angola, and it was what one of the guests said towards the end. I want you to listen to this.
Prince Harry, and he made an emotional pilgrimage to Angola today. And he's been walking, of course, in his late mother's footsteps as he sought to continue her legacy. The Duke of Sussex said that children should not have to fear playing outside. He was pictured walking through the country's largest minefield. It's exactly the pictures on the screen there. So it's a recreation, in a sense, of what his mother did. She did some fantastic work helping to clear landmines and draw attention to landmines and the plight that they can cause to everyone, but especially children in Angola. And it comes as he sent a team last week to reconcile with the King, but not Prince William. OK, so a couple of stories knocking about here. Adam, I mean, is this, for all of the criticisms, and I think have been, you know, one of the more vocal people against Prince Harry, for all the criticism, this is good work, isn't it?
I want to see more stuff like this. This is good work. But I did think children should not fear going outside. Well, he's obviously never been to London and seeing what kids have to put up with on the streets, machete wars and whatever.
Now, sticking with King Charles, he held an audience with the President of the Maldives, Mohammed Muizzu, at Windsor Castle. What a lovely picture. I love that. Now, also, King Charles had a meeting with the President of the Republic of Paraguay, Santiago Peña. Moving on, we have the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Edward, who on July 9th visited the Royal Wolverhampton School, where he met pupils, staff, and civic dignitaries. Edward is the patron of the school, and they just had their 175th anniversary. Now, he met the students that are doing their Duke of Edinburgh Awards. He also saw an art exhibition, and he watched a little bit of the school play Oliver. Just as an FYI, he's been the patron of this school since 2002. He succeeded his grandmother, the Queen Mother, who was the previous patron. I think he's looking much more healthy, don't you guys? Moving on. Next up, Princess Beatrice's husband, Edo, shared a never-before-seen picture of the couple. They were celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary on July 17th. Remember, that happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. So they had a really small wedding, but you know, that's okay. And I do say I love Beatrice without makeup. I think she looks lovely. Let's keep going. Let's move on now. A picture was painted of King Charles by a robot. That's pretty cool. This is the first robot to ever paint King Charles. It was unveiled at the UK mission to the WTO and United Nations in Geneva, and it was part of the 2025 AI for Good Summit, which was hosted by the UN in Geneva. It's called the Algorithm King. It was created using Ada Robot's advanced algorithms. So it had a robotic arm which used oil on canvas, and the camera was the eyes. Previously, the robot painted Queen Elizabeth, which was titled Algorithm Queen. That was also unveiled this week, but it was done to create the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Now, King Charles hasn't commented on it yet, but I think that's pretty cool. I miss Queen Elizabeth. All right, moving on. It was Camila's birthday. We know this. She turned 78. They had some new pictures released. She looks absolutely gorgeous. We've seen this dress before. There it is on a previous visit out. Of course, birthday wishes started coming in from everybody except Harry and Meghan. William and Princess Catherine shared a tribute online. We know here this picture is from obviously years earlier, but we know that they have a very close relationship. Of course, King Charles and the royal family Twitter shared something as well. I think she looks great. Next up, we have Prince George. Can you believe he's turning 12? Anyway, they're featuring him in Hello Magazine Canada. They're looking ahead for what's next for George, insights from former palace aides, and, what's ahead for the future king. Let me just say that's one good-looking kid. And somebody did an AI where they aged him recently. They did it on Twitter. He's going to be a knockout. All right, let's move on. Next up, I want to go back and touch back on this duck story. Remember, Oprah did this whole story about how he got a call from Harry. Hey, we have a duck emergency. These ducks need water. We only have a stream. We don't have a pond. And they basically put the duck and the ducklings in a box, took them over to Oprah's house. The mama duck flew out. Then they were chasing the mama duck all over the yard, trying to catch it. I don't think that's funny. Oprah was like, oh yeah, we got a video of it. It's hilarious. I didn't see anything funny about that myself. The story was supposed to show, in my opinion, that Oprah and Harry and Meghan are still good friends. I think it shows animal abuse because there was no need to move the ducks, okay? First of all, Harry and Meghan lied when they said they don't have a pond. She has a Japanese tea room that she uses for her meditation. That is not a stream it's sitting on. That's a pond. Second of all, thank you to the Sidleys for pointing out that mallards are protected species and it's illegal to move them, take them, do anything with them. It says chicks cannot be touched, and if you look at the very bottom, it clearly says they don't remove them from people's private property. And if you do, there's fines involved. So I hope somebody in California is paying attention to what Harry and Meghan did to that poor duck and her ducklings. Disgusting. Now, sticking with Oprah Winfrey, it was on July 16th while she was on Kelly Ripa's podcast that they started talking about Harry and Meghan, and she actually poked a little fun at them. They were talking about the duck situation, and she said, I'd run them straight over to the Sussex, and she couldn't even say their freaking name correctly. She had to say it again to make sure it got out correctly, and they're saying that Oprah threw shade at them. Now, I can't say Sussexes either. I want to say sucks ass. Oprah's making fun of their last name, and it's being reported now that Harry and Meghan were very stung by her comments. And while Oprah may not have meant any harm, they're very sensitive to anything that makes them sound like a meme, and they expected Oprah to be a trusted ally, and so they are most upset now with Oprah. They better get over it. Okay, next up, I just wanted to touch on this. Meghan, literally, anything she touches gets markled. Remember, she touched the coffee and they found out it had lead in it. And they touched the chimpo thing. Everything they touch goes to crap. So remember when Meghan back in April went to New York to see the show Gypsy in like a 5-car caravan? We covered all that. Well, she's seen hugging the head woman, Audra McDonald, on the Gypsy set. Well, come to find out that now Gypsy is closing early. They couldn't shake what they're calling the Tony curse. I think it's the Meghan Markle curse. It's going to stop running on August 17th. Oh, well, you hugged Meghan. You should have known something was going to happen. All right, next up, a blind item came out saying that the meeting was really about money. Maybe. We'll never know for sure. Let's move on. Let's move on to this article that came out saying there's a new Shadow Rivalry with William and Harry. So here's what it comes down to. They're saying there's no coincidence that William and Catherine didn't have a rep at the meeting that went on, because William remains distrustful of his brother, and they have since learned that William and Catherine are treating any reconciliation with extreme caution, and the fact that it ended up in the newspapers tells you all you need to know. What's upsetting everybody is that Harry is throwing tantrums, he's treacherous, and yet they're giving him chance after chance, and he has yet to issue a single public apology, whereas William hasn't put a foot wrong, and yet it's like Harry gets a pass every time, and William doesn't. And from Charles's point of view, his own cancer battle is imposed a ticking clock, and he wants to have some sort of a relationship with Harry before he passes. I mean, I get that, but you got to remember that there's 2 sons, and you got to be fair. That's all I'm saying. All right, now this is interesting. The judge that's in charge of deciding how much Harry has to pay in his court costs against the Daily Mirror has recused himself from the prospect. He removed himself completely. At the start of the hearing, the Judge Rowley, said, "Having seen the documents more fully, I have taken the view I need to recuse myself from the case, and it's not a decision I have taken lightly." Now, he worked at Temple Legal Protection for 10 months before he became a cost judge, and during the time he designed a bespoke policy that applied to about 40% of the costs for the case. And he said, "I'm concerned I may have knowledge of how this is done that is not before the parties, and so it seems obvious there are risks there." And he confirmed it was not a point that had been raised by either party, but he's going to be replaced by another judge, and a hearing will take place at another time at a later date. All right, this next article, I just wanted to talk to an ex-royal butler. I bet you guys know who he is. Paul Burrell came out and said, "I think the firm is very amused by what Meghan Markle is doing. I think, since they're on the other side of the Atlantic, they're just amused. But he said, make no mistake, she's going to go into fashion, jewelry, have her own perfume." And he said the worst thing that the royal family can do is underestimate her. I'll tell you what I agree with. She's ruthless. She cuts off family and friends if they do anything to upset her. She has no problem lying on national television. She's been caught lying over and over. Yes, I think they should not underestimate her. All right, finally, Harry is copycatting his mother again. And the main question that everybody has is, why and when is he going to stop? Well, that's easy. He's not going to, because Harry remains a significant figure globally, and he just wants to use her memory constantly. His entire appeal is because he is the child of Charles and Diana. He's achieved nothing on his own. He didn't get into Sandhurst because of his own merits. His military career as one of the soldiers is in direct contrast to the opinion of those he served with. Don't forget, Bunker Harry. He falls back on his mother because it's all he has. He then links his wife to his mother, but those 2 women share no similarities, with the exception to being connected to him and marrying into royalty. Even with all of his therapy, his constant yakking about his improved mental health, he is and will always be a 12-year-old child who idolizes his mother, a mother that got into a car with a drunk driver, didn't put on her seat belt, and was killed. He lacks the capacity to process the death and the reality of what his mother really was in life. And the reality is, she used the press when it suited her. She spoke negatively about the press when it didn't suit her. And now he does the same. All right, you guys, you know I want your comments. Make them good. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the link to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, a link to my second channel, a link to my father's book, which is still up for sale on Amazon, and a link to my Amazon wish list. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.